am Dana Lauder, and this is English 12 at Millsy Godwin High School. And today we are going to be talking about Brave New World. I'm looking at some themes in the novel and looking at how we can make some connections from the novel to song lyrics. So if you guys could turn to page 210. So this is right after she has died, and the Delta workers are lining up to get their Soma rations for the day, right? So the savage stood looking on. "O brave new world, O brave new world." In his mind, the singing words seemed to change their tone. They had mocked him through his misery and remorse, mocked him with how hideous a note of cynical derision. Fiendishly laughing, they had insisted on the low squalor, the nauseous ugliness of the nightmare. Now, suddenly, they trumpeted a call to arms. "O brave new world." Miranda was proclaiming the possibility of loveliness, the possibility of transforming even the nightmare into something fine and noble. "O brave new world." It was a challenge, a command. "No shoving there now," shouted the deputy sub-bursar in a fury. He slammed down the lid of his cash box. "I shall stop the distribution unless I have good behavior." So the job of the deputy sub-bursar, what is he meant to distribute? Soma, right? He's distributing Soma rations to the workers. And why would they want to distribute Soma to these workers every day?
Keep them like happy.
Yes, Kim?
Keep them like happy and keep them like under control.
Exactly, and through that happiness, right, they are kept under control.
If anyone starts to get any bit suspicious, they just inject them with Soma, and they just inject them with Soma if they get suspicious.
Right, or they take Soma, right? They give it out as a matter of their job. So the Deltas muttered, jostled one another a little, and then were still. The threat had been effective. Deprivation of Soma, an appalling thought. "That's better," said the young man, and reopened his cash box. Linda had been a slave. Linda had died. Others should live in freedom, and the world should be made beautiful. A reparation, a duty, and suddenly it was luminously clear to the savage what he must do. It was as though a shutter had been opened, a curtain drawn back. So, what do you guys think John the Savage is about to do?
Something that's going to get him in trouble.
Start a revolution.
Okay, something that's going to get him in trouble. What did you say, Mafe? Something with the Soma supplies, right? Because when he says Linda has been a slave, right? A slave to what? Yeah, to the society to which she was conditioned. And of course, the Soma is an integral part of that, right? Of that idea of social stability. So if we look on page 212, the savage asked them, "But do you like being slaves?" the savage was saying as they entered the hospital. His face was flushed, his eyes bright with ardor and indignation. "Do you like being babies?" "Yes, babies," he added, exasperated by their bestial stupidity into throwing insults at those he had come to save. Right, so he sees himself as doing what for these people? Saving them, right? Saving them, freeing them. The insults bounced off of their carapace of thick stupidity. They stared at him with a blank expression of dull and sullen resentment in their eyes. "Yes, puking," he fairly shouted. Grief and remorse, compassion and duty, all were forgotten now and, as it were, absorbed into an intense, overpowering hatred of these less than human monsters. "Don't you want to be free and men? Don't you even understand what manhood and freedom are?" Right? And those are questions that are pretty central to a lot of the concepts in Brave New World. Rage was making him fluent. The words came easily in a rush. "Don't you?" he repeated, but got no answer to his question. "Very well, then," he went on grimly. "I'll teach you. I'll make you be free whether you want to or not." And pushing open a window that looked onto the inner court of the hospital, he began to throw the little pill boxes of Soma in tablets and handfuls out into the area. For a moment, the khaki mob was silent, petrified. And why are they all dressed in khaki? Exactly, because that's the color of their caste, right? You have the 5 very clear social groups, castes in Brave New World. And they've never seen anything like this, right? They're silent, petrified at the spectacle of this wanton sacrilege with amazement and horror. "He's mad," whispered Bernard, staring with wide-open eyes. "They'll kill him." A great shout suddenly went up from the mob. A wave of movement drove it menacingly toward the savage. "Ford, help him," said Bernard, and averted his eyes. So again, who's Ford? Exactly, Henry Ford. And why did they hold up Henry Ford as sort of the deity?
Because he used the line.
Okay, Jackie, so and what about the assembly line?
The idea of mass production.
Okay, that idea of mass production. Shuffy, what were you going to say? Yeah, and so there's this sort of, this union of scientific potential and mass production and, economy in Brave New World. Forward helps those who help themselves, and with a laugh, actually a laugh of exultation, Helmholtz Watson pushed his way through to the crowd. Free, free, this savage shouted, and with one hand continued to throw the soma into the area, while with the other he punched the indistinguishable faces of his assailants. Free. And suddenly there was Helmholtz at his side, good old Helmholtz, also punching, men at last, and in the interval also throwing the poison out by handfuls through the open window. Yes, men, men. And there was no more poison left. He picked up the cash box and showed them its black emptiness. You're free. And so one thing that John keeps saying, right, in those lines is free, free, right? Don't you want to be free? Don't you want to be men? And this concept of freedom he keeps saying, do you want to be free? Do you want to be free? So what does he want these people to have the opportunity to be free from? Mafe? Okay, so freedom from the constraints of the social structure. Good. The freedom to do what?
Freedom not to be able to do as they want.
Okay. All right. Chanfei? All right. And when we say free will, what does that mean? Okay. The freedom to think for yourself, the freedom to love who you want to love or be friends who you want to be friends with. The capacity to use logic, right? To draw your own conclusions. So with that in mind, I want you guys just to take a few minutes. Everyone should have a marker at their table. So everyone grab just a marker color, doesn't matter which color. And I want you guys as a group just to, on that sheet of paper, brainstorm some concepts or themes from Brave New World. So when we think about some of these central ideas, some of these concepts of the novel, what are some terms that come to mind for you? And just take a minute to do that. Yeah, so everyone can write. Everyone has a marker. Everyone can write. Yeah, just themes from the novel. Themes or concepts. Could be main ideas, concepts, themes. Yeah, from the novel. Yeah. Yeah, from Brave New World. Anything. Okay. It's kind of a good way to phrase it. Let's see if I can get back here.
There are different classes. I'm not even guys.
Fun. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Different classes with our work.
Yeah, cast is still
Why were you going to do that?
Class.
I'll put that down.
Freedom? Okay. Well, freedom would be acceptable.
I was looking right now.
All right, guys, and now I want each group should have one computer. So one person in each group get your computer out. And we only need one. And then once you have your computer out with your group, you're going to pick just 2 or 3 of your concepts, and you're going to follow a link to a site called Padlet where we can post these concepts. So it's like a brainstorm where we can all see what each group came up with. And so if you go into Schoology, there should be a link where it says Brave New World Brainstorm. Click on that, and as a group, pick 2 concepts. It's okay if another group has the same concepts that you came up with. The password to post on the Padlet is imagine. And all you do to add your topic or your concepts is just click there, and then you should be able to post. So we have loneliness. Oh, oops.
What?
Yes. You're on. Now you just click that.
Well, so you've got John Savage with the love, like he actually loves her, but he's also like strongly attracted to her, and it's like more attractive. He just has oh yeah.
All right. So we have control. We have control through pleasure. We have loneliness and loss of individuality. Rebellion needs a spell check.
Nope, still.
They got one of the
All right, we have the caste system and conditioning.
So we've got control. You can
All right, good. Destiny determined by the government. Fake, no desire, control, false happiness. So we see some recurring threads here, right? That idea of false happiness, of control through pleasure. Everything seems rather manufactured. That alienation, that loss of individuality, that idea that in this construct of this social fabric, the individual means much less than the whole. Love and attraction, rebellion. All right. So let's just keep those in mind. And we're going to close our computers and listen to a song that you guys are likely familiar with. All right, so the song is Imagine by John Lennon. Came out in 1971. Who in here has heard that before? Yeah. So yeah, it's become, a very, very well-known song. I think it's one of the top 100, most performed songs of this century. There you go. And it's very often kind of played as an anthem of peace, right? That's what it's become affiliated with. But when you hear John Lennon, or when you read interviews with John Lennon talking about this song, there's a very clear political commentary behind it as well. And one of the concepts of Brave New World that we've been looking at is that idea of political or social commentary through literature, right? And here we have a political or social commentary through song. And I found this quote by John Lennon that I thought was kind of interesting. He said, "Put your political message across with a little honey." Okay? So, for a song that could potentially be very subversive, it's a song that has been incredibly popular. And so I want you guys to think about what might be John Lennon's message in this song, as we've been thinking about, what Huxley's message could be in Brave New World. So as we listen to it, I want you guys to keep the marker that you've been using and just mark the text really for any words or lines that you see as important, that you think are meaningful in the context of the song. You'll notice it's very simple, right? Lyrically, it's pretty simple. There's a fair amount of repetition, and so we're going to listen to it while you guys read. Okay, so what I want you to do now would be to compare some of the notes that you took, the annotation that you made, the words that you noticed, or the lines that stood out to you as meaningful, as significant. I want you to think about what might be the message of this song. So if you look on the sheet with the instructions for annotation, there are 2 questions that you're going to discuss as a group. And I was going to have you type down these answers, but I think for the sake of time, I'll just have you discuss. How would you paraphrase the stanzas of the song, right? They're pretty short. They're fairly simple. You know, lyrically, the song is simple, but how would you put this into your own words? What is the song literally asking us to imagine? And then figuratively, right? Metaphorically, symbolically, what is this song really asking, right? What concepts or ideas do these kind of literal questions raise? The song was written in 1971. Do you see some of these concepts and questions as still relevant today? All right, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day.